Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump held a forum at Mar-a-Lago today for their scam crypto company, World Liberty Financial. And it was basically a series of corruption TED Talks. But the thing that is getting the most attention is an interview with CNBC that Don Jr. and Eric Trump did, where she asked them a number of questions about their family and the president's conflict of interest and their blatant corruption that we've seen over the past year plus at this point. And their answers were basically to shoulder shrug and justify it at every single turn. Now, World Liberty Financial was recently in the headlines because it was revealed by the Wall Street Journal at the end of January that the United Arab Emirates got access to coveted US AI chips only after they invested $500 million for a 49% stake in World Liberty Financial. On top of that, the whole company reeks of a scam just off the bat. The fans, first of all, the crypto coin, it's a stable coin that they've launched through this company, has plummeted 69% in value since it was released. Stable coins are not supposed to do that, by the way. And fans have also been pissed because Trump fans who invested in the stablecoin initially were disappointed to find out that they can't actually sell the stablecoin after they put money into it. So the whole thing is a scam. It is a continuation of them fleecing the pockets of the American people, on our dollar. And the interviewer, although she did not ask good follow-up questions or push back on their claims at all, still got them to say some pretty interesting things. So let's kick off with her asking them the question about the blatant conflicts of interest involved between, the Trump family and the rest of the world. And let's see what Don Jr. had to say about this.
To ask you about, the World Liberty Corporation, which has been in the news, and there was this big Wall Street Journal report about the 49% stake that was sold to an Emirati royal family member after your father was elected president, raising questions about whether they were doing that so they could get access to AI chips.
A, my father has nothing to do with. B, it has nothing to do with AI chips. And C, we met in the Middle East the first time. Yes. There's not a person in that room, there's not a banker, there's not a fund manager that doesn't go to the Middle East and to the, whether the sovereign wealth funds of the world. They're some of the biggest investors in every fund in America. To critique the one here and not talk about the others would be nonsense.
There might be a reason that people are critiquing the one here as he's talking about. And maybe it has to do with the fact that his father is the president of the United States who dictates foreign policy, influences the import and export of key goods like AI chips right now. He has direct leverage over federal contracts. What do you mean? Why would people critique this one? It's exactly why people would critique it. So that response is ridiculous. It smacks you across the face. It's so obvious. And at the end of the day, the follow-up to what he says is even crazier. So, she's asked, was making this investment a conflict of interest? Is it corrupt? And he says, well, of course not. And his follow-up is not focused on if this is a conflict of interest or a problem. It's how well the investment has done for the Emiratis, and an insane other thing he says about if conflicts of interest even matter. Let's take a look.
That they invested in it, and they've actually had already over a 4x return on their investment. It's a great investment and has nothing to do with the other. We've been dealing with the conflict of interest stuff for years. I mean, they tried all this nonsense the first time around. Frankly, it's gotten old. They were the ones that put us into this position by creating legislation to try to put us out of business. We just fought back. We weren't willing to sit in the corner, curl up in a ball and die like they would love us to do. That's not how we function. That's not how we operate. And you can see that whether it's my father or us, that's never going to happen. We're going to do what we need to do to fight back.
Right?
It's a crazy law of unintended consequences.
I love that he almost confirms the corruption by saying, see, they've quadrupled their investment. It's like, okay, and they quadrupled their investment. And what did they get out of it? What did you get out of it? Like, yes, that is the corruption. And this whole woe is me, they were so mean to us about our first term corruption that now we have to do even more of it, is not the most convincing argument. I think, look, it is so funny to watch this family complain about how much they've been canceled and how difficult things have been for them. It's ridiculous. All we've done is watch them fleece the American people for billions of dollars over the past year or so. We watched Don Jr. join the board of a drone startup that then received $20 million of government contracts after he joined. We watched him invest in a rare earth minerals company last year that then got a $600 million government contract after that. We just watched Eric Trump announce that he joined an Israeli drone company yesterday that is going to try to sell to the US. It's pretty obvious at this point that the president and his family are using government contracts, which are paid for by your tax dollars, to inflate the valuations of these companies so they can cash out as soon as they possibly can, or as soon as Trump is out of office. It is crystal clear. They're not even trying to make the corruption hidden or complicated at this point. It is that direct. Our taxpayer dollars are going to fund contracts that inflate the valuations of these companies that the Trump family is then going to cash out on. They are directly cashing out using our money, and it's BS. And it is a level of corruption that makes the Teapot Dome scandal of the 1920s look like somebody rigging a bingo game at a retirement home. It is stratospheric levels of corruption that we've never seen. And you know, all they do is still complain that it's not enough, and that they were hurt after, you know, everything that's happened. And it is the self-victimization narrative truly blows my mind. Let's see what Eric Trump said, you know, as he tried to self-victimize during this interview.
Exciting.
Well, you know what the critics would say. They'd say that the credibility factor is the Trump name and the Trump White House, and that everyone, you know, is here to curry favor.
I think the great irony is they didn't give us much of a choice. When you had
they created this monster.
When you had every big bank in the world for doing nothing wrong, just based on the fact that we all wore a hat that said "Make America Great Again." My father happened to be running as a Republican, canceled us. I mean, I was getting these calls: 300 bank accounts, Capital One, in the middle of the night. These are commercial buildings, residential buildings, you know, golf courses, you know, are around the world. These aren't political entities, and they were pulling these accounts from us like we're absolute dogs.
Who is this story, this sob story, supposed to impact? Is it supposed to impact the American people who can't afford their rent or their groceries or their healthcare right now? They're devastated that Citibank doesn't want to work with a family that A, is blatantly corrupt, and B, where the head of the family tried to overthrow and overturn a democratically run election. That is why they got canceled. It was perfectly legitimate. More should have happened, arguably, than just having some banks not want to work with them. And so no matter what happens, these people, the far right and the Trump family, they are a load of complainers, and nothing is ever going to be good enough for them. And it is always going to be this self-victim approach to get people to insanely feel sorry for them and buy into the scams. They're con artists, and we're watching. Even with this forum, you've got all of these, you know, CEOs and leaders showing up because they need to curry favor with the president. But at the end of the day, you know, the people that end up getting hurt the most are the people who are buying into these scam crypto coins, like the ones the Trumps launch, that, you know, everyday people who have been suckered into these things by the Trump family buy into them. They plummet 90%. The Trumps collect a couple $100 million, and all of those people who unfortunately were conned into spending, you know, their mortgage payment or a part of their savings to do it are the ones left holding the bag. And it's not just the Trump family. It is brazen corruption that has now been acceptable throughout the Republican Party. Let's see what Senator Bernie Moreno was doing at the summit today and who he was sitting with.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. And I think we should also disclose that you donated to the super PAC of your election campaign, just for
because they agreed with me, not because I agree with them.
Yes, yeah. And also he backs, I think, most pro-crypto.
I do. I donated directly to him as well. Okay. He was the first crypto executive to run for the Senate, so.
So you were all about it.
Yep.
Brian Armstrong, Senator Bernie Moreno, thank you both very much. And
I love how it's like, well, he was a crypto executive, so of course I'm going to be up here. It's like, we don't want to see a crypto CEO sitting shoulder to shoulder with a sitting U.S. senator talking each other up. Nobody is even trying to cover up the corruption at this point, and they're pitching each other like they're like he's a VC associate, taking part in the Coinbase crypto portfolio. And I know people feel right now like it's like, well, we've got 3 years left of just them fleecing the country. And I think, that is why the midterms are so important. And that is why, Democrats have to turn out in November to elect Democrats into power. So they will have oversight roles so they can subpoena and launch investigations into these types of things that are happening. The justice for all of everything that might happen or is happening right now might take a couple more years, but there's a lot of work to do. And the sooner we can get started on it, the better. That's it for me today. If you liked what you saw, throw a like on this video, follow the Demwins Media YouTube channel, follow me at buildingthebench.substack.com, and we will keep bringing you the news as you need to see it. Thanks for watching.